Okay, this is from the book of Apology of Aristides. Aristides, that's Aristides. And I'm going to start in chapter 12. Let's see what I have written here. Chapter 12. And this is referring to Egypt's idols, beliefs, and stupidity. This is the title of the this video here. Beliefs, Egypt's beliefs and stupidity. Let's go chapter 12 through 14. We're going to go in. Chapter 12 and 1. The Egyptians, moreover, because they are more base and stupid than every people that is on the earth, have themselves erred more than all. For the deities or religion of the barbarians and the Greeks did not suffice for them, but they introduced some also of the nature of the animals, and said thereof that they were gods, and likewise of creeping things which are found on the dry land and in the waters, and of plants and herbs they said that some of them were gods, and they were corrupted by every kind of delusion and defilement more than every people that is on the earth. Let's define delusion so we can be real quick on that. Give me a minute. I'm on tab there. Delusion, something that is falsely or delusively believed or propagated. A false belief. Okay, despite indisputable. Oh man, they took me out. All right. Let me go back. Delusion. Give me a minute. They just knocked me off right now. There's one thing about having the damn large hands. The buttons are so small. Oh man, come on. Alright, let's finish. Abnormal state marked by such beliefs. The act of tricking or deceiving someone, the state of being deluded. Hallucination, illusion. Pipe dream. Okay. And we in 5, chapter 12 and 5. And they were corrupted by every kind of delusion and defilement more than every people that is on the earth. For from ancient times they worship Isis, and they say that this is a goddess, whose husband was Osiris, her brother. And when Osiris was killed by Typhon, his brother is fled with Heros, her son, to Babylon in Syria, and was there for a certain time until her son was grown, and he contended with Typhon, his uncle, and killed him. Then Isis returned and went around with Horus, her son, and sought for the dead body of Osiris, her lord, bitterly lamenting his death. If then Isis be a goddess and could not help Osiris, her brother and lord, how can she help another? But it is impossible that a divine nature should be afraid and flee from safety, or should weep and wail, or else it is very miserable. And of Osiris also they say that he is an unsearchable god, and he was killed by Typhon and was unable to help himself. But it is well known that this cannot be asserted of divinity. And further, they say of his brother Typhon that he is a god who killed his brother and was killed by his brother's son, by his bride, being unable to help himself. And how, pray, is he a god? And how is he a god who does not save himself? As the Egyptians then were more stupid than the rest of the nations, these and such like gods did not suffice for them. No, but they even apply the name of gods to animals in which there is no soul at all. For some of them worship the sheep and others the calf, and some the pig and others the shad fish, and some the crocodile and hawk and fish and the ibis and the vulture and the eagle and the raven. Some of them worship the cat and others the bot fish. Some the dog, some the adder, and some the asp, and others the lion, and others the garlic and onions and thorns. Can you believe that, though? Can you believe that? And I figured that because you know what? It's so many other things that's being taken on as a higher power when it's not. You know, you won't doubt it to this day. That's it's still going on. And others, the tiger and such things. The poor creatures do not see that all these things are nothing. Although they daily witness their gods being eaten and consumed by men and also by their fellows, while some of them are cremated and some died, decay, and became dust, without their observing that they perish in many ways. So the Egyptians have not observed that such things which are not equal to their own deliverance are not gods. And if indeed they are weak in the case of their own deliverance, from where have they power to help in the case of deliverance of their worshippers? Great then is the error into which the Egyptians wandered, greater, indeed, than that of any people which is on the face of the earth. Chapter 13. But it is a marvel, O king, with regard to the Greeks, who surpass all other peoples in the manner of life and reasoning, how they have gone astray after dead idols and lifeless images, and yet they see their gods in the hands of their craftsmen, being sewn out and planned and docked and hacked short and charred and ornamented and being altered by them in every kind of way. And when they grow old and are worn away through lapse of time, and when they are molted and crashed to powder, how, I wonder, did they not perceive concerning them what they are not gods? And as for those who did not find deliverance from themselves, how can they serve the distress of men? But even the writers and the philosophers among them have wrongly alleged that the gods are such as are made in honor of God Almighty, and they erred in seeking to liken them to God, whom man has not at any time seen, nor can see what he is like. Herein too they err, in asserting of deity that any such thing as deficiency can be present to it, as when they say that he receives sacrifice and requires burnt offering and libation and immolation of men in temples. Let's look at the definition of libation. I have a little bit here, but I want to go further into it. Okay, libation is an act of pouring a liquid as a sacrifice. Let's see what this Merriam-Webster dictionary defined it. Then I'll have to go on some other one. So we are in libation. Libation. An act of pouring out liquid is a sacrifice, which are written. An act or instant of drinking, often ceremoniously. A drink containing alcohol. Beverage drink quencher. Okay. Now let's see here in Webster's dictionary. Webster Encyclopedic Dictionary of the English Language, including the dictionary of synonyms. Let's see what it says here. Innovation. Innovation. It is a hot day today. Strange energies are erupting around me. And the best thing to do is be in with the Most High right there. Okay, it says here. Same thing, active porn and liquid usually want either on the ground or on a victim in sacrifice. In honor of some deity, a portion of wine or other liquid poured out in the honor of deity by a person who is to drink. And this is crazy. It says, or on a victim in sacrifice in honor of some deity. Hmm. So a lot of street people should pay attention to that. Okay, let's finish reading here. And we are in the next word was, so we know what libation is. The other word was emulations. Emulations, offering, sacrifice, victim. Let's look it up in Merriam Dictionary. Emo. Oh man, come on, man. Emulation. Okay, active emulation, state of being, something that is The examples it says here are the blood-drenched emulations that the ancient Aztecs annually offered by the thousands. Okay. Now let's look it up in my hand dictionary. And that was libation as an emulation. And and oh man, that book is so heavy. My back hurt. And I hope I found it in time. There's just so many words in here. Come on. I got too much space in my heart. Memory card. Emulate. Sacrifice. Here we go. Meal which was thrown on the head of the victim to sacrifice to kill as a victim offering. And emulation is the same thing as the act of emulating sacrifice offering. Same thing as libation. Libation is pouring and it is on it. Now, we're in chapter 13 and 9 of Apology of ARISTIDES. So make sure you either go online or if you're reading it in the Apocrypha that has all of the books in there, the complete Apocrypha. 9. But God is not in need, and none of these things is necessary to him. And it is clear that men err in these things they imagine. Further, their writers, and their philosophers represent. Okay, you gotta watch for sometimes some of these philosophers too. and declare that the nature of all their gods is one. Okay? And they have not apprehended God our Lord, who while he is one, is in all. They err therefore. For if the body of a man, while it is many in its parts, are not in dread, one member of another, but since it is a united body, fully agrees with itself. Even so also God is one in his nature, a single essence to proper to him, since he is uniform in his nature and his essence. And he is not afraid of himself. If then the nature of the gods is one, it is not proper that a god should either pursue or slain or harm a god. If then gods be pursued and one wounded by gods, and some kidnapped, some struck dead by lightning, it is obvious that the nature of their gods is not one. And hence it is known, O king, that it is mistake when they reckon, and bring the natures of their gods under a single nature. If then it becomes us to admire a God which is seen and does not see, how much more praiseworthy is it that one should believe in a nature which is invincible and all seeing? And if further it is fitting that one should approve the handiworks of a craftsman, how much more is it fitting that one should glorify the creator of the craftsman? For behold, when the Greeks made laws, they did not perceive by their laws they condemned their gods. For if their laws are righteous, their gods are unrighteous. Let's see here. Since they transgress the law in killing one another, the practicing sorcery and committing adultery, and in robbing and stealing and lying with males, and by their other practices as well. For if their gods were right in doing all these things, as they are described in the laws of the Greeks are unrighteous, it's not being made according to the will of their God. In that case, the whole world is going astray. For the narratives about their gods are some of them myths, and some of them nature poems, and some of them hymns and elegies. Okay, let's see if I look at that word elegy. Where is it? Let's see. Let's see if I'm spelling it right. Yeah. A song, a poem expressing sorrow or lamentation, especially for one who is dead, a pensive or reflective poem that is usually nostalgic or melancholy. Music composure. That's what it's talking about here. For the narratives about their gods are some of them myths and some of them nature poems and some of them hymns and elegies. The hymns indeed and the elegies are empty words and noise, but these nature poems, even if they are made as they say, still those are not gods who do such things and suffer and endure such things. And those myths are shallow tales with no depth, depth, whatever in them. Chapter 14. Let us come now, O King, to the history of the Jews also, and see what opinion they have as to God. The Jews then say that God is one, the creator of all, and the omnipotent. Let's look at that word omnipotent. Omnipotent. Omnipoten. Let's see. In a minute here. I swear when I'm typing on this thing, that's why I can't stand these devices. You know, it be just going to stuff that you know you did not press. Oh, having virtual unlimited authority or influence. One who has unlimited power or authority. One who is omnipotent, all powerful, almighty. God, the Most High, the Creator. And that it is not right that any other should be worshipped except this God alone. And herein they appear to approach the truth more than all the nations, especially in that they worship God and not His works, and they imitate God by the philanthropy, philanthropy, person who makes active effort to promote human welfare. Let's finish looking it up. Because I did write some of it down, but I didn't have enough room in it when I was writing it. So I want to come back to it. It's PHI and CH PHROP THROP. And again, I'm going to spell it again as PHILANTHROPY. Goodwill to fellow members of the human race. Active effort to promote human welfare. An act or gift done or made for humanitarian purposes. An organization distributing or supported by funds set aside for humanitarian purposes. Big hearted. I guess these are some of the attributes of this type of people. Big heartedness, bountifulness, bounty, generosity, generous, open hearted, open handedness, unselfishness. Okay? So now we're on the humanitarian part. It says here the Jews that understood the Creator, okay, and those Israelites, they understand. To be honest with you, to this day, the real, who are the real humanitarians, amongst a lot of other individuals. It doesn't matter the race, okay, because following the Creator is more important. So we're going to finish. We're at chapter 14 and 5. I'm going to reread it again. And they imitate God by the philanthropy which prevails among them, for they have compassion on the poor. See, I always talk about the poor here on this, on my videos at that. I was saying how the Most High was with the poor and have the poor in heart, and they release the captives and bury the dead, and do such things as these, which are acceptable before God and well pleasing also to men, which they have received from their forefathers. Nevertheless, they too erred from true knowledge. See, just like today, generation, because of the enslavement of some of these people, okay, and a lot of other people from different places fell away from the knowledge of the Creator. And in their imagination, they conceive that it is God they serve, whereas by their mood of observance, it is to the messengers and not to God that their service is rendered, as when they celebrate Sabbaths in the beginning of the months and feast of unleavened bread and a great fast, and fasting and circumcision, and the purification of meats, which things, however, they do not observe perfectly. Okay, we're gonna stop there. There's just so much more, and it goes to chapter. It's from chapter 1. It says 17. So we stopped at 14. And I think I have some information. And another thing too, I wanted people to know is um, some specific words are not in a lot of these dictionaries. Okay, and I'm starting to notice why it wasn't. Okay, a lot of them are in. A lot of the good ones are in the older um, encyclopedias. You know, much older ones, you'll find a lot of definitions and stuff that needs to be understood. Uh, but it does have, as far as the Merriam one that's on these apps, and that's online. Um, Merriam-Webster, they have a lot of the synonyms, and it leads you into the etymology of certain words. Okay. Philanthropy. Person makes active effort to promote it. You have sometimes some philanthropies, goodwill to people, an act or gift done for humanitarians, humanitarian purposes. Organizations supported by funds. That's and there's a lot of organizations out here that I wish I could go back into this. Let me see if I can still find it. Then I noticed that do certain things based on deception majority of the time, because you can actually you see the state of the world right now. So a lot of individuals are actually getting caught for taking money or doing things like that, knowing that they were supposed to give it to the poor, and they're getting caught for not doing what they're supposed to be doing. And I think when they have done it so much, they think that they was unable to get caught. But you will eventually. So some of these uh, libations and other stuff that's being done right out in front of people's face, for all these years, but based off of that act of sacrifice, that goes unnoticed a lot. So I want to talk a little bit about Yeshua Christ, um, because I hear so much of people just speak things that I myself sometimes get disturbed by hearing it, because it keeps getting repeatedly spoken of, as far as the Christ in his flesh when he was here, um, that there was some sort of violent anger type individual, but it was a good anger, to a point where you know things that was evil was being pointed out, and if you notice, sometimes people that know they're doing wrong, they get angry with you. and then they claim that you're being dramatic, or you're being too what do you call it, extreme. Um, start bringing up all these kinds of names because they want to continue to dwell in some of those bad behaviors. So I wrote a little bit of stuff here. Yeshua was intelligent, gentle, and strong. Okay, strong, endured a lot, right? A gentle individual, especially when coming into learning things. You got to float like water. Be like water. Be calm and respectful to people. Um, Point out things that need to be pointed out. Uh, have the fruits of the spirit. Because the other side sometimes will get you to act out of character. Basically. I wrote here, it says he knew his father's work needed to be done to show the glory and might of our Creator. Those who stand against it wanted to brand their markings on the people for control, to rule under bondage. Leadership rule. According to man, which today is noticeable, Babylon has become a grounds for many temptations that only feed the criminal elements, and many that have lost their ways. Okay, so that's something short, and I think I'm gonna go read a few scriptures so I can close this audio out. So I want people to know, just on this channel, you will see me. I don't think I'll be going live a lot, probably once or twice a month if I can, until this resource is taken out of the way. So I'm gonna read a few scriptures here. James 3:13. I think this is NLT. If you are wise and understand God's ways, prove it by living an honorable life, doing good works with the humility that comes from wisdom. But if you're bitterly jealous and there is selfish ambition in your heart, don't cover up the truth with boasting and lying. For jealousy and selfishness are not God's kind of wisdom. Such things are earthly, unspiritual, and demonic. For wherever there is jealousy and selfish ambition, there you will find disorder and evil of every kind. But the wisdom from above is first of all pure. It is also peace, loving, gentle at all times, and willing to yield to others. It is full of mercy and fruit of good deeds. It shows no favoritism and is always sincere. And those who are peacemakers will plant seeds of peace and reap harvests of righteousness. Okay. And I will speak another scripture. Deuteronomy 5:37. Because he loved your ancestors, he chose to bless their descendants, and he personally brought you out Egypt with a great display of power. He drove out nations far greater than you so he could bring you their land as your special possession, as it is today. Exodus 23:2. This is for individuals, I'm sure, as an example, it's just like, teens are doing a little takeover things, as they call it, and destroying property, destroying things. This is not only for the teens, it's for adults and the rest of the world. Exodus 23:2. Thou shalt not follow a multitude, groups of people, large amount of people, to do evil, neither shalt thou speak in it cause to decline after many to wrest judgment. Don't speak in it. It's an example of, and I didn't want to say this, but I want to say it now. There was a Pacific individual from uh, my hometown where they were just acting out of control and, you know, making loud noise through the neighborhood, screaming, hollering, driving around, acting crazy because it was a situation. I think it was involving looting, matter of fact. And one individual decided to be in front of the camera and started yelling and yelling and saying things, and automatically got caught up by uh, the rulers, and kind of was displaying themselves as if they was the leader in charge of all the conflict, right? And um, got caught up in, automatically became famous. Let's say it that way. But I don't think, in my opinion, it was for a good reason, because it only further, how can I say? I think it calmed the individual down a little bit as far as the behavior, found something productive to do. But um, just never speak in a situation like that, you know, or when there's conflict like that going on, stay away from it, because you will never know exactly what's the truth behind a lot of things that goes on in this world. Um, there's some people that are beyond evil, that you would least expect. And when scriptures talks about knowledge, my people are falling from lack of knowledge. Basically, is speaking that the fact that if you are not understanding the words or the things that you should have been taught, okay, or your family should have taught you, you will walk outside and not understand your behavior later because you have not been taught correctly. You didn't put your household or your neighborhood has not put knowledge into themselves. They depended on. Speaking from this standpoint, I'm gonna say Egypt. You depended on Egypt's information or knowledge, and just as that, and not understanding, um, you know, what the lessons that you should have been taught growing up, uh, would have kept you safe and avoided from a lot of conflict. But when I started this audio in the beginning, I talked about it's talking about the items from Egypt, okay, and how worthless and stupid they are. And what it states here in Apology of Aristides is 100% true to me. Um, this is unbelievable in a way that people are actually taking objects from reality and worshiping things. Um, hmm, it's quite ignorant, and when you really start to understand, you notice people really defended this stuff for a long time, and I think it has something to do with the gifts and the trinkets and the opportunities and the control and the boastingness from it that comes from these things, that created a lot of people that we have actually noticed that became famous or uh, based off of this, based off of it. And today, when I came across a specific video, now I'm just talking right now. I came across a certain video. I was kind of proud and excited that at least one person today I noticed decided to get rid of a lot of their AP, APPS, APPS, and avoid certain things that really don't matter. And that fully gives me hope as well, because you know what? When you don't understand things, like I said earlier, it can lead you into certain things that you be like, oh man, you know, I wish I would have knew earlier, stuff like that. So, um, all praises to the Most High in Christ, and I'm just hoping a lot of brothers and sisters, when they come onto my page, no matter the race, background, the culture, whatever, that you can get some sort of understanding from me as much as you can. I can't do too much because I'm only one person, but because I'm actually helping myself as well, and still healing as well. Um, your internal is the most thing that you're going to need right now. Okay, how you want to be able to conduct yourself under full liberty. Let's say it that way. Because you have liberty, Christ gives you liberty. Okay, be able to conduct yourself when you can be walking down a long road and you see people over there. You won't have the attitude of saying things to them wrong, or the attitude of looking at them in a jealous way, the attitude of trying to plot or still do things. Then all that'll be blocked out. You'll be walking in peace and have a harmony within yourself and the Most High, out through the world. Because a lot of things, material items and stuff like that, is not. It's worthless. It really is. It's worthless. Today, I came across another video that day too. Also, uh, people just still keep paying attention to a lot of elements that they don't take it as how can I say, signs of things that need to be known, but they're sitting and worshiping, and still keep misleading people. But yeah, I won't be on long, um, for long on this channel, because a lot of my audios are going to be redone, not redone, but done on audio and just set to the side, because I'm not going to be putting up too much anymore. I notice I have over excessive amount of videos. I think I'm practically almost in the 50s, close to 50 times more. But I'm the type of individual I like to re-listen to my audios and see where I messed up at. If I said something wrong or did something, or I was too slow. And I analyze myself on certain things that I do. But you can't be too perfect. But that's why I leave a lot of things raw in the videos, if some people notice. So, all praise to the Most High, Yah, the Creator, and Son Jesus Christ, Yeshua, the King of Kings, and y'all stay at peace, people, within, because you're gonna start noticing a lot of things get a little strange and out of control very soon. Peace and love. And I'm showing that love through the things that I'm doing and saying. Okay. And a lot of other things are done personally. Okay. Because that's only for